Lecture 1.2, Charles Darwin. We have gotten up through human history, talking about the history of evolutionary thought, starting way back with Aristotle, moving all the way up to Lamarck, and then Darwin's rejection of Lamarck. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about Charles Darwin himself, because that is something that most people have a basic understanding of, but his travels and his thought on natural selection became the basis for the pre-modern theory of evolution. So in the 1700s, scientists were fighting a lot. It was a fight over whether species change over time. Aristotle had said no change. There will be no change whatsoever. Everything is perfect. Theologians said God made the world. It is perfect as it is. But we're looking around finally for the first time and seeing maybe things aren't always the same. Fossils were first discovered during this time. Fossils were evidence of organisms that are no longer extant on the planet. People didn't think, though, they were dinosaurs. Giant lizards was not in anybody's mind. People thought dragons. They were giant. They had the structure of sort of reptiles. We knew that. But we've heard about dragons. We're pretty sure a few hundred years back, people saw dragons. They had dragon pit fighting, apparently. Some dinosaurs they found had beaks-like structure. Some fossils, they didn't find dinosaurs. Fossils had beaks like a triceratops would. They looked at those beaks and said, well, this is obviously something that's too big to be a bird. Maybe it's like half bird, half lion. So we got these fossils they found, but they had no living organisms they could attach it to. They were different from modern organisms. So this is where people's thinking began to change. There was literal arguments. Scientists back then were a lot more vehement than they are now. They would get into fist fights at conferences over their thoughts. And it's hilarious when you think about it, because these aren't like me scientists who sort of like lower middle class scientists. These are like aristocrats with canes and hats and things. And they would like bang on each other. It's like, good day to you, sir. Charles Darwin's research provided a focus for those arguments. Darwin, though, didn't start off as a scientist. He went to school to join the priesthood, to be a clergyman. At the time, all scientists were members of the clergy because you were a learned person. Most people, you went to school for two reasons. One, clergy. Two, law. The end. Everybody else, off to, I don't know, wherever you're working. The mines. When he was at school, he met a botanist named John Stevens Henslow, who was sort of his, he was the like rock star scientist of the time. Henslow knew a guy named Robert Fitzroy. Fitzroy was a captain of a ship, and he was getting ready to go to sea. So Henslow said, you know, I got this guy, Darwin, who could really go out there and do some, exploring around the world. It's sort of a sowing your wild oats trip, Except by sowing your wild oats, I mean being stuck on a ship with a whole bunch of guys in terrible weather with like stale food, going pretty much all the way around the world. Their job was to survey the coastlines of the different continents, find bays, find places you could stop and reprovision. So the ship, the Beagle, left England in December 1831. It was cold when they left, and it was bad weather. Their main mission, you're leaving from Plymouth, going down to the Azores to restock, hit Cape Verde, and then cross the Atlantic, hit the coast of South America, and then they're going to sort of hop around South America. They make a few stops, but their primary mission is charting. You'll notice toward the end of South America, they hit the Galapagos Islands. That's where Darwin's research really took off. Darwin spent a lot of time on shore. he went on shore to catalog the organisms that were there. He collected thousands and thousands of plants and animals and found fossils that nobody had seen before.